Do they have the best chance out of all the Premier League teams? I think we could have that conversation ad nauseum. Everybody has their own opinion. If they sign Vini, I think they're the front runners. I think Vini's that good.
I mean, there definitely it will be a trade-off that you have to make, because what the strength of Arsenal's team was last season was their solidity in defense, the solidity of their shape in a mid-block, how difficult they were to play through and against. And Vinicius Jr. will, without question, raise their attacking ceiling. If you look at their figures last season, they only scored 71 goals last season, which for a Premier League winner is a fairly low number. But it's not even 2 goals a game. But it was all about their defensive ability. You absolutely give something up with that to have Vinicius Jr. in the team. But to Tony's point, from my standpoint of wanting to watch all the big teams, it makes them miles more interesting, miles more fun to watch. I'll actually want to put on their games because Vinicius Jr. can add so much to them. But I think in terms of how it changes them as a team, I think it absolutely does, but I think they need to raise their ceiling from an attacking point of view. I don't think, especially, we talked about earlier the idea of the amount of exhaustion there will be. We showed that projected 11 doesn't even have William Saliba in it because he's probably going to miss the first part of the year. You might need to make up for a lack of energy and a lack of effort by having an increase of quality.
And the increase of quality, we're talking about a world-class talent. I mean, we've seen Vini be at his best. I feel like there's been so much noise around Vini that he hasn't been able to fulfill his full potential. I think he has the quality to be one of the best Brazilian players of all time, and he's just not hitting that ceiling. He has that, but he really is that good. We've seen him at Real Madrid, and if Real Madrid is in the situation where they want to let him go before he walks on, they want to sell him before he walks away on a free and he lands at an Arsenal, perhaps it gives Vini an opportunity to step out of a certain complacency that he's had at Real Madrid over the last couple of seasons, fill him with hunger, because he's going to arrive at Arsenal, a Premier League winning team, a team that just got to the Champions League final, with something to prove to the Arsenal fans. You almost like start from scratch, and to a certain degree, you go from Real Madrid, where you don't really know whose team it was, Mbappe, Vini, that was the whole debate. Arsenal becomes Vinicius Jr.'s team, in my opinion.
And that, for me, is the lesson of the World Cup, is the 3 guys in that Real Madrid side. Vini, I think, needs his own team. Jude, I think, needs his own team. And Mbappe needs his own team. I don't think the 3 of them can coexist. Maybe 2 of them can coexist, but I don't think the 3 of them. So, especially with Real linked to Yan Diomande, I think it makes perfect sense to cash in, get a huge fee for him, reapply that to the rest of the squad, and allow Vini to go thrive in a place where, as you say, Nico, that is his attacking unit to control.
Well, Mbappe and, Vini and Jude already coexist. They won a Champions League together, playing very good football. And Mbappe's not going anywhere.
And you're not getting rid of Jude. No, nobody's getting rid of Jude. The guy's world class, right?
Do you think that Yan Diomande reports of him going to Real Madrid has affected this?
Of course. Yeah, I think it has to. Right. For me, there's only one team that Vini Jr. in world football doesn't take sort of to the next level, and that's PSG to me, because I just think Kvaratskhelia does everything with and without the ball, and the way they're asked to play, I don't think Vini Jr. plays that way, right? So they'd have to change basically the system to play the way Vini Jr. does. But outside of that, he makes every other team in the world better.
Do you think Mikel Arteta would change anything if Vini were to go to Arsenal?
You have to.
I think to a certain degree, almost like, remember that conversation that Luis Enrique had with Mbappe?
In the meeting room that one?
That infamous meeting, asking him to drop back and stuff like that. To a certain degree, I do think you need to ask Vini to adapt his style to the Arsenal way, but also you can't rein in Vini. You kind of need to let Vini be himself. He would be Hollywood in the Premier League. It feels like, I don't know, that type of player with pace, with an knack for goal. He makes his teammates better. And just leaving the context of Spain, I think he would find happiness in a new home in London. Maybe not, right? But I think he's a player of that caliber that would instantly make Arsenal just level up. And I feel like that's what Arsenal needs to not get run into the ground after an exhausting season.
Yeah, definitely. Witty, like Nico said, if Vini were to go to Arsenal, he has them as favourites to repeat, go back-to-back Premier League champions. So why don't you give us 3 reasons why you think they can do that?
So my first one is I do think that at the moment that there is a lack of a genuine contender to challenge them. I think you look at all of the turnover that's happening at all the other major big clubs in Europe, in England, and you look at Manchester City with a massive managerial change. We don't know what it looks like with Enzo Maresca in there. Yeah, they brought in Elliot Anderson and bring in Bouhaddi from Morocco, but I still don't think that they're right now at the level. Manchester United are a team that progressed really well in the second half of the season, but that's a whole thing you got to do over the course of a long-term season. Liverpool under Iraola, I think, are going to have to go through a pretty big transition. So I think the other big contenders. The second one for me is I think you can rely on the ethic that they have from a defensive point of view. They have an identity, and that can be replicable season upon season. And now they have the knowledge that that formula can work in terms of winning a Premier League, in terms of getting all the way to a Champions League final. And the thing that we just talked about is I think my third reason is that there is room for improvement. For as much as Arsenal won the league last season, they did so in a very gritty style with not a lot of flair, with not a lot of creativity. I think even from players within that squad, but also the players they can potentially add, there is a level of a ceiling that can go a much higher level from them in terms of attacking, in terms of creativity, in terms of fluidity in the attacking third. If it is personnel, even if it is internal improvement, if it's Saka being healthy for the full season, if it's Gyökeres being more settled within the club, and of course additions they can make. I think the fact they only scored 71 goals last season can kind of be something to improve upon and something to think we can get better rather than that's our ceiling and we're going to drop off as a result.
Tony, aside from Vinny Jr, are there any other attacking players that you would want Arsenal to see bring in? I know there was talks about
Julian Alvarez was the one, right? That kind of, because when I see Havertz there, I still think Havertz is a little bit deeper player than that, but he's done such a great job for Arsenal, right? He's not a striker, right? He's not that guy that we think about. But he's gotten the job done. It's a matter of how long can they do it. Just like 2 years ago, how long can Mikel Merino continue to fill in that spot when guys were hurt, right? So they need a true striker for me. But of course, if Vinny did come, then it opens up things for Havertz to continue to score goals. But the point I love the most is that their identity, right? You can win. The hardest thing with a defensive identity, the hardest thing to do as a club is to have an identity and know who you are. They knew exactly who they were last year.
No, you go.
Oh, I was going to say my reasons why they wouldn't win.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
And I think that identity got the most out of them. Talking about wringing every last drop out of every player on the squad. I think you saw the real life consequences of a lot of the physicality. These players are tired. The turnaround is going to be quick, and I think the fatigue can catch up to them. And not only that, it's injury. Look at Saliba, look at Declan Rice. A lot of these players, the time of recovery to then just go straight back into this demanding grind that pushes you and every single team that you play to the limit, it's very difficult. And obviously, yes, of course, they're defensively sound, but I think they also had this over-reliance on set pieces. Can it get better? Well, of course, anything can get better. But if I had to choose, are they going to score more goals off set pieces or are they going to score less goals off of set pieces? I think to a certain degree, you're going to get found out when it's something of the game that you can adjust. It's not like it's a revolutionary, tactical, overload of a system that it's finally like, wow, what are they doing? Mind-blowing.
And the rest of the teams in the league would have spent the entire offseason thinking about how to defend it.
Right? So,
and the word is that they're going to crack down a little bit on some of the things that are happening on restarts, right? So between the opponent and between, maybe cracking down, they've got to maybe do some things differently.
And then obviously the topic of this segment, the lack of top quality transfers, like top that just upgrade your team. Arsenal haven't had that yet.
Yeah. When we looked at that list, most minutes by players, there was no Arsenal players on that list from the World Cup. Do you think that's because they were already so tired going into the tournament?
Was Declan Rice not? Oh, well, Declan Rice.
There was no
he didn't start one of the games. And yeah, I mean, it was an indication. Declan Rice is not 100% fit. And I don't know if it might be a surgery that he requires or just a really long rest, but he is definitely the player most in that squad.
I hope he's on a beach somewhere.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I hope he's on a beach for 6 weeks.
Himself.
Yeah, until the September international break.
I mean, think about it. Subimendi got 0 World Cup minutes, right? Merino at one point was coming off of the bench. Piero Hincapié was out in round of 16. Kai Havertz was out in round of 16.
Round of 32.
32.
Round of 32.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raya had 0 World Cup minutes.
Not a bad World Cup for Arsenal from that standpoint.
Yeah, but it did feel like they were already tired going into the World Cup this summer, wasn't it?
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.